Upon hearing of Sitting Bull's murder and fearing for the people, Chief Bigfoot decided to move everyone, including women and children, to Pine Ridge.
My grandfather's account, according to what he has told me, is that they were invited to come to Pine Ridge Reservation at the invitation of Chief Red Cloud. And primarily because of the lack of food that was available during that winter, it being a very hard and severe winter.
Knowing that the cavalry was camped close by and was watching his every move, Chief Bigfoot waited until nightfall, then fled with his people into the Badlands in a last desperate attempt for survival. When the cavalry realized that the Lakota had fled, they chased Bigfoot and his band for the next week, over 150 miles, before finally capturing them at Porcupine Butte. Our exhausted ancestors were forced to make camp a few miles ahead at Chunkpeopi Wakbala, the creek called Wounded Knee. Chief Bigfoot's daring escape path from the Cheyenne River to Wounded Knee would become the last leg of the Bigfoot Memorial Ride. As these 400 Lakota men, women, and children set up camp, they were cold, tired, and hungry. Many had died on the way. Many more were sick. Army troops of the 7th Cavalry, the same cavalry that had been devastated at the Battle of Little Bighorn, surrounded the Lakota camp. Then they set up 4 Hotchkiss machine guns.
The following morning, at approximately 9 o'clock or 9:30, my grandfather was called to the campsite in the center, Hochokata, and Hochokata is the center of the camp, at which time the cavalry had lined up in front, and there was the interpreters that the cavalry had indicated to the people that they were going to take all of the weapons and anything that could be used as a weapon, anything from guns to awls, which are used to puncture the hides which were used for beadwork. At that point in time, there appeared to be some apprehension. My grandfather felt at that time that something was about to occur.
It wasn't gunfire that started off this massacre. It was some kind of a loud noise, you know. As they say that the elders always say that winter time when it's really cold, any little noises sound like a gun, loud noise, you know, it makes a loud noise. And these soldiers were drunk, and they were ready to fire on anything that morning.
A handwritten account describes a priest giving our ancestors their last rites. Before the command to fire was given, Duane Blindman, the great-grandson of an eyewitness to the massacre that day at Wounded Knee, reads and translates.
It states in there very clearly where they were given their last rites by a black robe white man, holy white man, and that he was speaking and he didn't have no interpreter. Perhaps it was intended. Other times he states in here where he had there was always an interpreter that would interpret what was taking place, but this time there was no interpreter. So they stood there And after he got through, it states right here that this soldier, he's got a loud voice, and he hollered twice. He hollered twice, and just as he got through, the guns fired on him in one shot. Angela, Utkhab, one shot, one just as a command or something.
When the cavalry opened fire on our disarmed and defenseless ancestors, many attempted to flee into nearby ravines. A few escaped. Most were not so fortunate.
Sideways chun wa hanke kata akichitana da chatam punish dan shingsa khala tai hunge nih pa bin in wounded is ganu chapa yuge to tronkash la khpa hel hipina ina je shipa chin la ata I wo phamchai och yo kishni ke ina je shipa o kishni ko ena kat ie yo ke nih pa chin ena kat ie yo.
One incident that stood out in my grandfather's mind also was him seeing a lady that had been shot. This lady was bleeding, and she was holding her baby in her hands when a cavalry soldier came forward and grabbed the baby from the mother, and he tossed the baby into the air, landing several feet from the mother. The baby was bundled up because of the cold, and the soldier went over there and he pumped several shots into that bundle. And as this began to happen, the mother got to her feet and she began to run towards the bundle. And she came by the soldier, totally ignoring the soldier. And after she went by, the soldier had his rifle and he hit her in the back of the head and sprawled her down. And he then went and he put his foot on the woman's throat and then point blank fired 3-4 shots into the woman's head.
Hele atewa ki han Richard afraid of hawk etiapi. Na ha honko khiskam etiapi asenos lala. Nato kile lechia unded ni battle o unded ni massacre ki hel. Hai han to ki hokshilacha. 12 years old. Hai hai. Hokshilacha wagen ki ton katan kina. Yan ka ha ke yon khaton le akichi takena kutepke. Wagon box set to Chakutepche. Geleopsitch ha to Ketka. Nampina ha Wakpala or Skok Paicha took till na Upha Kina Kaketkia took till South Takia. O North Creek Hitchetka took till Chakihuni Kahecha Honkukina Ishana Prapchachi. O Kiwita. On a ta a ke open and Prapika. On the Helena Kuntra brother or Opra Emil. I say Ish Hoxilla Chachi.
That night, a blizzard closed in. The cavalry went to Pine Ridge, leaving the bodies lying on the frozen plains. 2 days later, the army returned. They dug a trench, scooped up the frozen bodies, some of them still alive, and threw them in a mass grave.